Greetings, ladies and gents. Ivan here from iWords and Upwards. Today I'm going to be joined by my good old friend Alex, who is going to be with us shortly. I know I have started a little bit earlier, which is all right. Just wanted to make sure that I can answer a couple of questions before we get started. Was some questions that came in through the comments in YouTube, and they're mostly about our discussions and a few episodes that I have done with regards to tactics and the way a lot of the a lot of the so-called experts and pundits and other people, no pun intended, it's widespread spread, and it's just one of those things that people get continuously wrong. They were asking, well, if systems are not formations and formations are not systems, what are the shorthands? What are the shortcuts that we can use to indicate those? And I'll go through a few just so that you guys can understand when you're talking to somebody about a certain system, a certain way and design, and the philosophy the team plays, that you can actually operate with some terms. So the very basic ones is we're going to start from sort of higher up the pitch is the high press, which is also called the Gegenpressen, the German word for it. It's basically it's a formation that's based on the system that based on the formations such as 4-3-3, 3-4-3, or 4-5-1, variations of 4-5-1, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-2-1, 4-1-4-1, so on and so forth. But it's all about winning the ball high up the pitch. It's force rushed clearances. Capitalize on those. It's all about squeezing, isolating, pressing triggers, counter pressing. So gegenpressing is effectively total press. The team will be very much organized on the live, actual, intelligent triggers. Poor first touch, back pass to a certain player on a certain angle, man with the body facing the wrong way, so on and so forth. That's what you can operate with. So gegenpressing or high press system. Then from there on, we go into mid block. Mid block usually would refer to sort of compact interceptive structure. The mid block. So that's your sort of golden middle. Actually, while I'm seeing that, I will add Alex to stage. And you're with us, my brother. How are you?
Good evening, or good morning,
Hey,
or good
all good?
afternoon, what time of the day it is. I can't complain, but sometimes I
Good.
still do, because I'm
Yeah, we're
British.
all good.
It's part and parcel of it all. How are you? How are you good? All good? Life is well?
Good, brother. Good. I'm just sure that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. It's a bit of a...
Okay. Right. Yeah. No worries. I was just going through some shorthands and shortcuts for systems versus formation because yeah,
Yeah,
every time I hear people saying how they are playing, 4-3-3 system, it just literally blows my mind because it makes zero sense. Yeah.
yeah,
So if you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
mind,
that's right.
if you don't mind, I'll jump through a few of those and then we'll sort of switch on to the
Yep,
main topic of the conversation. And if you have any additions, if you have any clarifying questions, if you have anything that you would like to add, jump in, just interrupt me. Yeah.
sounds good.
Cool. So we stepped on the mid block, which is effectively a compact interceptive mid block. So that's your golden middle. So basically, the purpose of that system, which can be played in various formations, but mainly it's your good old 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1 again, and good old 3-5-2.
Okay, so that's what Parkinson should be doing all this time. So you got to control your middle third. You got to invite wide possession. You have to win a lot of your balls in transitions. And I guess the buzzwords for that system will be your channel, your step up, your squeeze, your delay, your tactical pause. So la pausa, the famous word that's the Spaniards used. So the main triggers for that system would be when your opponent enters no man's land, like that half space, and you have to, from there on, force a lateral pass. So that's what the system operates on. And hence, being a 3-5-2, for example, you use midfield lateral shifts and you open those vertical lanes. That's why quite often when the system is not done correctly, it turns into kick and chase and relies on consistent movement up the flanks and then crosses. So that is a sign of a very primitive and basic 3-5-2 being used in a mid-block interceptive system. Does it make sense?
100%.
Yep. So from there on, I guess we're gonna stop on three today. There is a few more that I would like to touch on, but we'll probably do it later on. But we started from the top, moved to the middle, and now the low block. We go into the low block, or what's also called a deep zonal block. So basically, it's you're defending in numbers and you're relying on a rapid counter attack. So effectively all you focusing on here with that system, you are denying space in your own box, you absorb pressure, and you counter quickly. That should not be done with 3-5-2 in any shape or form. uh, it is usually performed in 5-4-1 or 4-5-1, because obviously you have a lot of numbers in those midfield and back lines. But in Parkinson's case, he plays a variation of 5-3-2, which is it's your ultimate hoofball system. So when you have nominally five defensive players, you are doomed to forget about your interzonal and build up progressions. You're literally just bypassing the midfield and playing to the target man up front, hoping that his hold up play will buy you enough time for the rest of the players to cover two-thirds of the pitch to give him support. All
Yeah.
right. So, and that's what we have been observing from 2003, effectively when he first started coaching. So your for that system, your opposition will trigger you when they create a massive overload in the top third. So that's your I guess that's your sign to if you win the ball, you physically cannot play on the grass on the ground to move through all the bodies. You will have to play over the top.
Yeah.
Um, Zonal progression, just like I mentioned before, in this case, just doesn't exist. You have vertical clearance to a outlet, such as a target man up front.
Mm.
So your link up plays are limited to long ball and second ball recovery. So
Yeah.
effectively, what it gives us, and that's to explain and answer those questions that people asked about. Well, you because I said that many times, stop using basic terms of like 4-4-2, 4-3-2-1, or whatever. Stop confusing that for systems. And people rightfully ask, like, so what are the shortcuts? What are the shorthands that we can use? So I just given you three, but do your own research also and try to educate yourself on those things. But what I was about to say is that just from the brief description that I gave you, we are seeing the conflict of the shape that is established under Parkinson and the tactical system that is played within that shape. So there
Yeah.
is a certain disbalance and disproportion, and that is why we're seeing what we're seeing over the years. And that is why the reliance on individual performance and the players is so high, because there is no other way to overcome the shortcomings of the system, but to ask players to produce moments of brilliance. And with that, I will start our proper stream this time, and
Yep.
we'll invite you on stage. And I literally just spoke for 10 minutes straight. So please take the stage and tell us what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, well, thank you for giving a good analysis there on formations and football tactics, because for as much as we always say, people don't generally talk too heavy into tactics and formations and such with when we're discussing football anymore. And you know what I think what we've realized actually is is many people don't actually know the breakdowns of formations of what's going on a field. So yeah, they just don't, do they? I think that always the biggest discussion is always seems to be around transfers and you know who's doing well, and you know I think that's pretty much
Buzzwords,
buzzwords, of
usually,
course.
yeah, double pivot and like all the things. Like when you ask
Yeah,
people, like, okay, I have explained that in my previous streams. Is like, can you actually
that's
explain
right.
what double pivot means? People got no clue.
Well, look, I think it is, I'm sure like people that do watch your show, Ivan, will be very thankful to learn to educate themselves on these meanings, on the understanding of what's actually going on in a football game, not necessarily on a Wrexham game or in other games, but that's generally what should be happening when you see a 4-4-2, 4-3-5-1, or whatever kind of sorry, not 4-3-5, 4.
I
What
got
was
you.
it that they played? Yeah, 3-5-5-1. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really good to just to kind of know why the coach is going ahead with these formations opposed to just saying, "Oh, we're playing a 4-4-2 today." Great. What does that mean? So yeah, to break that down, really good. So that was the point of getting at there. Yeah, look, I think this show today, I think we can definitely kind of go into a bit more analysis, a little bit more of a breakdown. Not necessarily that we need to say anything too gritty, because it will touch on the last game against QPR. I think we'll draw a lot of attention to that game, and then of course we can kind of see, yeah, what we're 5 games into the season now, and what's going to happen going forward now from what we've already seen.
yeah. Well, after all, the title of the stream is Post-QPR, Pre-Norwich. So
That's right.
that's where
Yeah.
where we are. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're gonna do a recap and share our opinion on what happened in the game against QPR, and analyze that in a little bit of a detail, and then move on to what we can expect from Norwich. And again, all this noise about people talking how now we have more possession and that's a positive sign. Again, people just look at BBC generated or any other generated statistics. They looked at the possession is bigger, and they automatically assume that this is better, and they don't even ask how that happened and what was behind it. We need to make sure that we at least explain how it happens and what is really behind all this, just from a very quick analysis. Because asking for better players and don't play this player, play the other player, and have more possession, and run faster, shoot harder, is just like I always say. It's like saying to your players, play better, do better. It's the same. Essentially, it's the same realm of same plane of thought.
That's right. Yeah, so let's start with possession. So QPR versus Wrexham, stats were 60.6% possession to Wrexham to 39.4. So as you said, your general pundit is going to go on, look at that, and go, well, we dominated possession in that game. What went wrong? Or what? Or how did we lose a game? But we watched that game and we saw that possession was not holding the ball in the areas that should have been held in.
That's right.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, do you want to break that down for us?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And
why
you
60-39 is not necessarily a good thing.
so just like you said, we watched the game, and during the game at crazy hour during the night, we were talking about it. And one of the things that you have mentioned is that they are shaping Wrexham to what they needed to do. And what I said to that is that they are limiting Wrexham to what they are comfortable with. So we were talking about that all the time. It's like we have seen Wrexham controlling the ball, but in the areas and in the circumstances where QPR felt comfortable with it. So we have what I have observed is that um, QPR and obviously their management had analyzed the situation, and they had make sure that uh, the only time Wrexham can control the ball is down the flanks, where they would be relying on those crosses, which QPR was very comfortable to defend. Not a single goal was scored of those crosses. And before, during my streams, I have spoken about it many times that your potential from scoring goals from pointless, unsystemized crosses is very, very low. And that is exactly what QPR had exploited. Pointless
Yep.
runs up the flanks, crosses. On top of that, they wanted the wing backs to overcommit and expose the areas behind them, because they have some very quick guys on the team. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. We saw that from Kone and Saito. Also, Burrow, and those guys were just lightning fast. They really showed up the defense, and they just realized that for most of the game, there was a little bit of a dip in the second, but like let's just even take the first half into a bit of analysis here. You could easily see just the pace and the fitness of these guys, just how easy they were just literally cutting through the middle.
Young guys, young
Young
guys.
guys. They weren't crossing it. If you go back and you watch the highlights, you watch the game again, you'll see that there was, well, we're not even talking hoofball here. There was very few long passes QPR were sending in. It was fast on the ground, just good strong runs, but not too many runs. Off ball runs, not too many, because they were already in position. They're using the defense to work that ball up the middle. And then when the attackers, they didn't have far to run, but it was just like sharp runs into the box and shooting. And we saw that beautifully on Kone's goal, which was goal number 2.
Can I explore that a little bit, what you just have described?
Yeah, absolutely.
And before I say that, a shout out, I'm just looking at the other screen here. It's that Steve H saying just popped in to fall asleep. It's 12:40 a.m. and he will watch once he's awake. Thank you so much, Steve H. And he's also always asking good questions, and that's very much appreciated. So what you have described is out of possession. QPR essentially played a compact 4-2-3-1 with an occasional shift to 4-4-2, depending on where Wrexham was trying to create the overload. But it was effectively a solid mid block, the one that I was talking about in the beginning of this stream. They have screened all the passing lanes of nominal Wrexham number 6 and number 10, and pretty much everybody else in the midfield. Effectively, what that have done is that they have showed the passes that they wanted to show to Wrexham, which were to the touchline, which were out wide. And they know that Wrexham loves kick and chase up the wing and launch a fucking stupid cross. That happens all the time. That's why people, we're getting chances. You're getting random, stupid, unreplicable, unpredictable chances. That's why you're not scoring them. That is like,
Yep.
again, this is so basic that it's just grinds my fucking gears. How people keep on the highest level of analytics, people keep on saying we just need to use our chances. You will not use your chances because they are random. If there is no
Yeah.
predictability, if there is no design in your chances, your percentage of chances used is minuscule. And how, like, even a person without no footballing education at all, just a tiny little bit of critical thinking will lead you down that path. But I sidetrack. So basically, QPR only pressed, and they pressed hard when the ball um, hit the wide channel in zones 2 and 5 predominantly. And that basically does three things ultimately. So you concede the wings and you protect the half spaces. So you eliminate those channel, what Parkinson calls channel runs, which are not really channel runs, but let's keep it at that. So basically, what happens is that once you funnel people away from zone 14, you and the inside channels, they become pretty much non-existent. So your most dominant and the highest xg areas of the pitch, they become ice eliminated. So Wrexham
Mm.
had no chance in the real danger zones. That invited crosses versus a very set defense. So
Yeah.
we know that Moore always threatens on restarts of the game. Hence, he scored from a corner. That's his danger.
Yep.
You know, he threatens from those set pieces and the restarts of the game. But from open play, which we have witnessed, both me and you, QPR, they were quite happy to contest the first and the second ball, defend the box. They even if we look at the patterns of the game, I think it was 12 corners. There was high shot count. There was very modest xG, and basically that shows us the live model of let them sling the ball in, and we
Yep.
will live with that. We will deal with that. That is effectively what QPR had done. So if you and what follows from all of that, that leads you to preload the counter lanes successfully. So by letting Wrexham's wingbacks, it's not McLean's fault. I am sick and tired of hearing people single outing a
Yep.
player, two or three. The team falls down on the system. They fall down on teamwork. It's not about one or two players, because when you have your wingback stepping up high on the left, which he has to do, because that's where the overall pattern of the game is leading him to. You have QPR priming a pre-designated players in those lanes to go behind that far committed wingback. And on top of that, the reason why they targeted Wrexham left side is not only McLean, is because behind them Doyle is playing, and me and you during the last stream pointed out that that guy is a walking red card. So all they
Yep.
wanted to do is to make sure that when there is a gap and there is an exploitation of fast interzonal progression happening,
Yep.
Doyle will have to commit a crime effectively and get himself
Yeah.
sent off. And that's why he was quite passive the entire game, because the only way he could combat it was to get himself sent off effectively. So the and then in the end, you have, like you were describing, those fast guys running away and scorching on the quick counter, exploiting the free zone. I hope I kind of explained that that clearly.
No, absolutely. I think it's a really good breakdown of just kind of knowing where it was going wrong throughout the game. Um, let's maybe go right back to the start of the game.
Mhm.
So what did we say? The first 7 minutes. the first 7 minutes, Wrexham, we were actually very impressed. Well, I was impressed about we saw building from the back. We saw ball on the ground. It was slightly more fast pace. And then, of course, came the first. When did the first own goal come? Sorry, I didn't see when that came.
It was.
It was.
Let me double check. I'll check. Let me.
Anyway, before that first own goal, let's just talk about those first 7 minutes. So, yeah, we saw some good old fashioned holding the structure, holding formation.
33rd minute.
33rd minute. Okay, right. Yeah. So it was a little bit further on from there. It was a strong start. It was a really strong start. Of course, no goals. It wasn't quite Liverpool versus Atletico this morning. 2 goals in 7 minutes to Liverpool. But look, it's not all about trying to get that greasy first goal, which we do see Wrexham try to do. And it's like I get it when we see that, like in my experience watching the Championship, getting that greasy first goal and then trying to park the bus. It can just be like that sometimes, especially against bigger teams. But like Wrexham should be the bigger team, and they shouldn't just be trying to play well for that first little bit or play well just in the second half. A game of football is 90 minutes. We saw 7 really good minutes of football, and then it just kind of fell apart. Then the hoofball started. It just kind of reverted back to the old way of playing. So I mean, we're going to start talking about formation now. But so Wrexham went out there with a 3-5-1-1. That's their initial formation. Did that hold? Maybe for the first couple of minutes, and then so having 5 in the midfield means like what is he actually planning on using his midfielders? Because those 5 joined the 3 in the back, and then it was just 8 defenders for the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, look, I wouldn't call it a good football for the first 7 minutes, but at least it was less desperate than usually. And I think the reason why is because during that time, like you were saying, QPR, they were confirming their assumptions and their studies that were done previously. Obviously, the operational side of things at QPR worked quite well, and they did study the opposition quite well. As for the midfield, that's a very good point you were making. Why did we switch from the system that tried to build from the back, hold the midfield, organize zonal progressions, and why did we go into hoofball after that? It's not, and that's another thing why it's not simply McLean or Cody or anybody else's problem. It's more than that. In your 3-5-1-1 starting formation and a mid-block system, which was what Parkinson tried to do. He tried to implement an interceptive mid-block for the first few minutes, but because the players are not coached enough on that, they're not drilled enough. So what happens once your wing back pushes both number 8s, which is that famous attempt of double pivot that Parkinson again is failing to deliver time after time, mainly because both of those number 8s, once they step up just a little bit too high, you often are left with your CDM solo. So there is, and he's pretty much effectively one in front of the back 3. That creates what's called an elastic gap between your LCB and your CB. And that is exactly the lane that QPR was trying to hit. The concession pattern of that pattern is consistent with effectively poor coverage behind width, and it's not it's not an isolated duel error. It's not an isolated. It's not an isolated error of somebody losing a battle on the pitch or somebody is not winning the second ball. That is the basic failure of establishing what's called a rest defense when you are not progressing through the center with your midfielders in a manner that will create
Yeah.
insurance and when the ball is turned over. And QPR knew it full well. Oh, we had a comment. Hold on a second. Hi, just on the first break and work. Good luck breaking down the match against QPR. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, did that explain a little bit about what had happened after the 7 minutes?
Yeah, I believe so. For me, obviously you're far more what do you call it, knowledgeable about, like understanding what's kind of going on here. We're all just trying to give you that overview, and you can try and fill in the gap. So, all right. So, like, fast forward the 7 minutes, QPR playing that fast attacking game. Connie's second goal. QPR 2-0 up. And then going into half time, looking pretty damn good. Did Wrexham get their first goal in the first half? I can't remember when that first. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it might have come in the second, actually.
It was the second half. I'll
Okay.
go back to 67th minute.
67 minute. All right. So.
Yep.
Right, so that's the first half. Yeah, Wrexham come out in obviously after Parky having a rant at them, and then we usually see that they are usually a bit more ramped up, regardless of what's going on in the game. I think what I saw in that game was, even though QPR had a really fast attack, they had a very nervy defense in midfield, which kind of shut on and off. I think that allowed Wrexham to get back into the game in the second half, because we did see a couple of bully tactics. We saw the likes of Dobson. He was definitely, there was a lot of even McLean before he got taken off. There was a few kind of heavy challenges which is going to happen. It's kind of like it is a little bit desperate play, but they needed to do something. It led to Wrexham getting that goal, a few kind of missed chances there. Possibly this is where Wrexham kind of really got that possession back a little bit as well. Was it structurally done? No. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of holding the ball. Again, there was a lot of turnovers. A lot of long ball crosses, and a lot of sloppy play again. It looked very desperate to me, but it rattled QPR because then they become unpredictable. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we need to separate the first half from the second half here, in the sense that during the first half, the plan of QPR and how they gave the ball to Wrexham worked almost perfectly, because basically what we're talking about is the possession that Wrexham has had, and the fact that a lot of people had mentioned that, and they think it's a positive sign. Wrexham were allowed possession, mainly in short circulation of ball across the defensive zones, and then from there they were forced to play the ball either to wide players or hoof it up to Kiefer trying to find for a second ball. Effectively, what QPR had done is that they have shepherded Wrexham to the outside lanes. They blocked the inside left and right half spaces, and they did not allow any clean passes through. They did not allow any wall passes through. Nothing was allowed to go into the zone 14. And hence, they kept the scoring chances and the quality of those chances of the Wrexham quite low. So basically, in the final zone, the action in the final zone were limited to crosses, uh, set pieces. That's where Wrexham scored from, and we could see that the open play box entries, they were not dismantling their shape. So even though Parkinson had barked at them during the halftime, they
Yeah.
did, they ran at QPR without a plan on how they're going to create a high quality chances progressing through the middle. And
Yeah.
we saw that they were not successful at scoring from play effectively. They QPR were quite happily absorbing that pressure. They let Wrexham get into the game, but they were never compromised when it came to defending. And as a matter of fact, I would argue that they almost, even though I did not quite understood it straight away when I was watching, because me and you were
Mm.
both talking about how they got back into the game, and you know how I said that the worst thing that they can do now is to let their foot off the gas. I
Yeah.
was incorrect because what they have noticed is that the quick guys, the attacking players, were beating the Wrexham defense, which was not because the players were too slow. It's because they were set up incorrectly. When the defender needs to turn around and start running from facing the wrong way, so you need to turn and face your own goal and then run after that, you already give a faster attacker at least 5 to 10 yards of space
Mm.
and 5 to 10 yards of handicap. So what QPR had done is that they invited that pressure, which were they quite comfortable defending, but they capitalized on a counter straight away.
Yeah.
And we could see that how they got scorched. That guy who overtook Cody was just flying through. But that was not an accident. That was not a. They knew that Wrexham are going to run at them because that
Yeah.
was the only thing they got left. You know, they already 2-0 down. What are they going to do? They're going to run at them. And they knew that they're going to burn them on the counter attack.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just that speed alone was unbelievable. And you know what also I noticed in that game was so when Saito was sub for Dembele, and not the famous Dembele, but
Yeah.
another one, um, that made me realize that QPR have very fast attackers on their bench, as did they do on their their startup, which says to me like um like they know how to play a fast game. Like
Hmm.
they're well rehearsed. They're a structured team. Um, all leads to good coaching. Um, and I think a lot of things that you're going to touch, and every time that I'm on your show, I'll try to touch on this point as well. This is not to just sit here and bag Parky per se. This is it's a breakdown, an open interpretation to show what good and bad coaching looks like. Because when shit hits the fan, pardon my language, when it hits the fan, um, and people go, where is it all going wrong? Where is it going wrong for Wrexham? What's happening? Like, just go back and listen to what you're saying and the reasons why things are falling apart. And then you'd be like, it was as oh, because I told you so, because I told you so. Yeah. And
Yes.
yeah. So anyway, sorry, that
Hence,
was yeah.
no, hence, uh, every what everybody is saying right now is that bring on the players that you bought, play your strongest players. Uh,
Yeah.
that will not help. That will not help because your it's not a FIFA game. You cannot play your 85 plus cards, your 85 plus players, and expect the system and the tactical drilling to appear out of nowhere. It's not a computer game.
No.
And your if you are trying really, really hard to get a little bit of the possession back, which is what
Yeah.
everybody's saying, Wrexham needs more possession. Your possession bump that you will acquire through extra individual running effectively, it will
Yep.
be illusionary. It's completely illusory because you will still be, even by stronger QPR is not the strongest team. and they did not play perfectly. They actually were quite an average team, apart from a few things they did relatively well. But teams will seed you to the wings because they
Yeah,
know that's what you do. They will get those half spaces away from you. They will bait you into low value crossing chances because that's what Wrexham is already doing. And Parkinson's been
that's
doing
right.
it all his coaching career. Teams are not going to try to reinvent the wheel further on. Like I said in my streams before the season had started, they will know everything every player does to a hair on his head. So if that's what naturally, because effectively through the lack of coaching and through the lack of variety and being a ultimate definition of one trick old school outdated pony, teams will help you play that way. And it doesn't matter if you play player A instead of player B. If you keep on playing that way, teams will help you do that. And if you,
Yep.
now I have heard recently, literally like a few hours back, that apparently there was a rumor of Parkinson changing formation, not the system, or maybe the system, I don't know. Something changes are coming. If he does that, the collapse is going to be even greater. He will not. I can tell you right now. If there will be any kind of changes, it will be very minute, minuscule changes, nothing too much.
Mm.
If he switches away from three at the back and goes to four at the back in any shape or form, and keeps less number less numbers in the midfield, the crash will be even greater because you don't have the opportunity to throw five in defense or effectively four, depending on which side is a strong side. Your
Yep.
your midfield and the dislodgement between the defense and the midfield will become even greater because you don't have that spare player to cover you up. So if that happens, I actually would like to see that happen because that will be a whole different level of um, horrible. Let's put it this way.
Yep. So hey, look. So while we're touching on defense, I think it's quite an important topic to discuss in the QPR Wrexham game, but not just in there, but like just for the season. What I saw was a very slow, frozen, you could say, defense, not holding shape. We saw that the left was exposed. Doyle really struggled. Uh, Now, is that because the QPR attackers were just so much quicker, or he's just like lack of football knowledge, just not being able to be in the right spot? And then, of course, just looking sloppy. And yeah, let's break that down. What were your thoughts on what you saw with what's going on in the defense?
Um, First and foremost, Wrexham gets burned on transitions, on turnovers, on quick transitions. That indicates an overall designer structural fault in setting up interzonal rest defense. The team as a organism, as a living entity, does not know, and the incompetence of tactical and progressional coaching is so vivid that they do not know how to progress up the pitch while keeping rest defense active. So
Yep.
every time they defend, what you're talking about, not keeping shape, they fall apart the second the ball is turned over because there is no support triangle set up. Support triangle is a very easy way of explaining, simplifying rest defense. So it's depth cover challenge triangle, so called. Those are not existent. So when they go up front, there is no education behind how they are set up in the transition through the zones in case the ball gets turned over.
Yep.
That's why we see and I keep on talking and reiterating that again. Look at the proportional, again, that is just simple clues for you to look at the pitch. Look at the proportional distances between the players on the pitch, not the ones who have the ball up front and trying to take a person one on one, or they're fighting for another scrappy second ball, but those behind. They are random. There is no setup. They don't know what they're doing. They are reacting. They playing what they see. And at this level, when you're playing against very high class players who are drilled at how to utilize half spaces and how to utilize pre-designed overloads, if you don't keep proportional distances between the players, as simple as that, if you don't keep that principle of the breathing ball between the players in defense, in central defensive midfield, in midfield, you will fall apart, because by the time your players react, they are a step behind. They don't
Yep.
have a preset model. That's what I'm talking about. Hence, there is that. Yes, Cody is not the fastest defender on the planet. Yes, McLean is getting older, not the fastest player, but they are their shortcomings are emphasized by the lack of tactical rest defense structure. And for those of you who use my um, explanations, who use my terms, who use the principles of liquid formations, fluid changes, please, it would be very nice if you just acknowledge that you have heard it here. Because a few people had reached out to me, and there are some people out there who literally citing me and quoting me word by word. It doesn't hurt to just say, "Hey, I heard it from this guy," or at least use different words, because like I'm doing it because I understand a little bit about the game. I love the game, but if you just blatantly copy paste, that's just not fair.
Mm. Yeah, no, 100%. It's yeah, like the way that you're doing what you're doing. Sorry, I just lost him here, but
No, no,
there we go. Can you still hear
you're good.
me?
Yep, I got you.
All right, there we go. They made two. That's good. Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, like it's not to be copy and paste. If people want to, yeah, if people want to talk about what you're saying, like get you on the show and we discuss it together. Like it shouldn't just be, oh yeah, it's lazy. It's very lazy. You know, so
Yeah,
all fun and
yeah,
well doing your homework and hearing stuff, but yeah, like yeah, it's just recycling discussion. Um,
yeah, and I can tell straight away when people don't know what they are talking about, because just like I said before, they are parroting what they're saying, and that's
yeah.
what is very unfortunate. Have you heard Parkinson's interview after the game?
No, I actually I don't watch them anymore. To be fair,
Brother,
like I.
brother, it was like what he was talking about in a nutshell made zero sense. I felt like I have watched a different game, and I am still waiting for that person to say, "Hey, to take at least a little bit of responsibility and say, this is
Mhm.
on me." Always
Actually,
somebody
after
else's
watching
fault.
the go on. Yeah, sorry, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say after watching the last post game Parky interview I watched was the Millwall one,
Hmm.
and then I even read the transcript from the BBC what was said as well. Do you remember where we're talking about that he was very happy with the formation, he was happy with the defense, he was happy with what he saw, and we couldn't believe like just how poor that game was. Like even though it was a win, great, and it's like he was just basing the fact that a 2-0 win was like a great game of football. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And on that, I have heard him. I read the interview of Parkinson, and he's saying how he has some players now recovering from injuries, and they should be back, and how now he's going to bring them onto the pitch, and everything is going to be great, and they're going to be stronger. Again, going back to that same topic of illusions of solutions through new
yeah,
players. Um, I understand. Again, I understand when normal fans or somebody who thinks that they understand football, they confuse moments for patterns and individual
yeah,
execution for tactical improvements. But when the coach does that, and just simply not even recognizing the fact that yes, a faster wing back or a fresher wing back might recover one or two chases better. Um, a quicker defenders, LCB, RCB, CB, might win one, two, or three of the longest sprints.
Yep.
But the essence of the game picture, of the design, it won't shift until the systemic problem, the coverage of transitions where we are so vulnerable, the compactness and proportions behind the ball, the distribution of the players, even in a simple what's called a 2-3 shell. Up until that is fixed, your new players are going to be sucking just as much, but with pricier tags on them. And like just listening to those things being reiterated from the people who's supposed to be understanding the game on the highest level, I'm I'm speechless, brother.
Yeah, I hear you. I really do hear you. Hey, look, so I think yeah, like let's go into the maybe into the closing part of our topics.
Mhm.
So sitting 5 games now into the league, it was kind of good. You know, I think on last show where you were kind of discussing about what are we looking at for you know where we're going and you know by the end, and I think I was telling you, I was discussing with you today. What was it going to look like a quarter of the way into the season? You know, the next 5 games. I think we were talking about like we were saying by the end of October. You know, when we're a good like 10 games in, what's that going to look like? And yeah, like
I
what are we looking to do? What are we looking to see for change and like injuries at the moment? Let's discuss that.
I have said it. I have said it a long time ago, preseason, that injuries will keep on piling up, and it's not a random bug, especially hamstring injuries. Just if you guys don't believe me, watch the last number of streams. I specifically said what kind of injuries and who is going to be getting them, and this will only continue. Um, the thing in football is that you will never get to play your strongest team. There will always be setbacks. There will always be
Yep.
injuries, especially when you're relying um, uh, on physical performance and you're relying on chaotic football, which generates a lot of pointless running and a lot of hard tackles and pointless injuries. Um, I think that the next 5 games, to be honest, uh, I do not see more than a couple of draws in there. If we get a if we get a win, it's probably going to be something ugly like against Millwall, and it's not up to Wrexham. It's up to other teams depending on how they're going to play against us. Next 5 games, I see the worst case scenario, all of them losses, and best case scenario is a couple of draws. And I see more injuries coming in. So I currently looking at what's happening and the way the team is playing and just collecting that puzzle from all the little elements that I am seeing, unfortunately, I do not see any positives whatsoever. And it's I'm not even talking about personalities. I'm just talking about overall picture. The changes that I needed are quite simple, but for Parkinson, they are quite drastic
Yep.
because that video that I shared with you, people are talking about changing formation and changing of
Yep.
system. If it's gonna be moving magnet from midfield up high and saying, "Okay, it's 4-3-3 now," that's
It's 4-3
that's
now. Yeah,
that's not gonna cut. You know
definitely not.
when I saw that video and I looked in the comment section and everybody was going about, hey, that guy is a nobody. What is he talking about? He is bullshit. He is nothing. What is he? And Parky with trust and Parky is awesome. Not a single person said that if a professional coach does what he did with a magnet board, that should literally send you down the corridor screaming, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?" It's you can what I oh my
Oh
goodness.
no. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody mentioned that. So yeah, does it answer your question? I think next 5 games are gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah, and I think we've got Norwich next, Derby, then Leicester. These are not including the cup games, but like
That
yeah. So we
don't
just
care about the
always
cup.
just yeah, don't care about the cup. Nobody seems to care about the cup, and Wrexham should definitely not be caring about the cup right now because they are fully in survival mode in my mind about what they need to do to try and preserve the players that they have. And it's all about avoiding too many more injuries because we said in the last stream about if Kiefer gets injured, if
When? When?
yeah, was it Ryan Hardy? Is the other attacker?
No, no. It was mainly for the attacker. It was when Moore is injured. That's what we were talking about. But the
Yeah,
other one who's playing for now mostly it's Hardy. Yes.
yeah. So no, sorry. The point I was just touching on there was if those guys do pick up injuries, will he? I was just reading on an article in the BBC today about Windass trying to be brought back for the West Brom game, but it's still too early. He's going to do what he did with Mullen. He'll bring back these injured players too quickly, stress fractures, not allowing them to rest properly because it's desperacy. If Kiefer goes down, who's he going to bring on? Who's his big guy? He doesn't have another one. This is it. Like, what's going to happen?
Brother, talking about rushing them back, Kakachi did his other hamstring
Yeah.
before he was even brought back. Like, this is what the
I know.
fuck?
It's really not fair on the guys that like to be brought back because he doesn't trust. Like Parky's got trust issues. If you don't believe that, go and read so much on the internet, like all the articles about he's got his favorites again 4-3-3. Yeah, yeah. Um,
All right,
it's
boys, change your plans.
change of plans. He's like, you gonna let him know? Yeah, yeah. I'll go and give him a call. Just tell him he's taking the day off. Yeah.
But the midfielders were the first ones. The first ones in. Oh my god! What do you think
Yeah.
about Ryan Reynolds bringing that guy from Man U? What's his face? Jones, the ex-defender of Man U, who's a up and coming coach now. Do you think that rumor that he might be looking for a new coach does it hold water? What you reckon?
Oh,
Did you hear about that?
I heard a rumor, but I just heard Man United. I didn't hear it was Jones.
Yeah,
Um,
Jones.
yeah, look, I think it's obviously a forbearing thought in every single businessman's mind that if we're predicting it goes as bad as it does by game 10 in the championship and Wrexham are in crisis mode, which is a very real possibility from what we're looking at right now, especially if they get hit with the injuries. Uh, Parky's ass is going to be on the line. And for as much as people say, no, 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 because he's got, he's, he's done too much good for the club and blah blah blah. It's that's just not going to cut the mustard anymore because it doesn't matter what what you've done in the past because you're only as good as your last effort. And right now, he hasn't had a good effort for what we've seen in the past while. So yeah, possibilities of him
Norwich.
getting replaced before Christmas. It's a very strong possibility. No, of course, that's it's very divided, and it's I read a lot of the comments on through on the on the sports pages on YouTube, just to try and see where that kind of like where that balance is lying on what's happening. And what I'm seeing now, and what we're going to see as the season progresses, we're going to see those negative comments become more and more apparent. And it's like, yeah, he's like, oh, you're not a fan, you're not a fan. This is not about whether you're a fan or not. Like, you can be a fan, but you can be frustrated on seeing the poor decisions and performances, and it's just not good. Because if you want to see your club do good, you've got to see the right decisions being made, and we're not seeing
Absolutely.
any of that right now. We're not
And
seeing Wrexham set up to stay in the Championship.
Yep, not set up, not flexible, not adjustable, not competent enough. And like I always say, and I said it many times, if you have, despite obvious and well explained and well proved shortcomings of
Yeah.
the way Phil Parkinson plays, if you have supported him through the years and you ignored the red flags that are in your face, you have no right to complain about him. You have
That's
no right to complain because if you do, you're a double-faced, unfair person because you have seen it and it's been extremely visible. And everybody with half a brain was saying that. If you were saying in Park we trust and all that stuff, enjoy, because this is what you get. If you ignore the red flags and you only rely on the results, turning a blind eye to gaping problems, you have
Yep.
no right. It's not like it's been going on for a month. It's been going on for years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. So look, heading to Norwich this
Your
coming
predictions?
weekend. I'm thinking a 1-1 draw. Norwich are not
Wow.
a strong team. They're not as strong as they used to be. I think again, we'll see Wrexham. In the last two games, West Brom, QPR, they have outshot and outpossessed their opponents, but it's another illusion. It's they're not decent shots on goals. There is a lot of high ball headers at the goalie. You know, are we going to see Norwich do something similar to what QPR did and figure out Wrexham quite quickly? Probably. They seem very easy to be able to predict because Wrexham don't change it up ever. They are a very predictable team. And yeah, I think teams will become wiser and wiser to what's going on, which is just going to make it easier for them to walk all over them.
Norwich got Sargent though. Sargent apparently is he's the one of the best forwards of the league. So I I understand where you're coming from with the draw. I think judging by the fact that Wrexham faced over 100 and something shots in the first 5 games, like the most amount of shots that any of the teams had faced. I think that trend is going to continue. Um, the My prediction is 2-1 to Norwich. Yep. Actually, 2-1 of like I have two in my head. 2-1 or 4-1 to Norwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so we look at so Norwich's goals for and against. They're 7-4 and 6 against, which says to me that they're a team that they love big score lines.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the how many goals after 5 games, which looking at the rest of the league, who are we seeing here? Coventry are the highest, sitting on 15 goals for. So I think like 7 goals in 5 games is pretty damn good. So will they see Wrexham as a team to, get a couple more goals on? I absolutely believe so. It's whether Wrexham can, you know, exploit the fact that they are letting goals in as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think as far as the game against Norwich goes, because they know that there is a threat.
Yeah,
They have no systematic answer to that threat. The only way they're going to be eliminating the threat of Sargent is early low block, parking the bus, having two people on Sargent. That's what's going to happen. And yeah, it's going to be. I predict it's going to be an ugly game, ugly. So, and that's
yeah,
that's what I mean. If Norwich manage to score early, the score line is going to be big. If
yeah,
it's not, because in this league, first goal matters a lot, and it's a very important thing to get. If they manage to kick their way out of being scored on for the first half, then the score line obviously is not going to be that big. So, yeah, I think it's all about that first goal.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be another tough one. There are a bunch more tough games to come. So October is going to be the gauntlet, and it's just going to be pure survival mode coming
Who
up.
do we have
So
in October?
let's have a look. Sorry, just 1 second. I'll just quickly bring this up. I just had it up a second ago.
To be honest, I thought that this month was already like the next 5 games were already gauntlet enough, but
Well,
it
Norwich
looks like
Derby and Leicester for September.
yeah, that's
Leicester's going to
already
be a real tough one because like Leicester are angry and hungry to get back. Starting off October is Birmingham City,
yep.
and then straight after Birmingham is going to be Stoke. Stoke, who are sitting second in the league right now, so doing a hell of a round. Then Oxford United, maybe a bit of a break in the onslaught. Um,
Hmm.
and then it's Middlesbrough and Coventry. So we're now about to play the top of the table.
So what, 7, 8 points by the end of October?
I can only see them even like if they get a win at Oxford because it's a home game. So they've got 1, 2. So in October there's 3 and 3. So it's nice. It's nicely even out, which most months are. That's going to be a very tough month to come out on top.
If they end up on even if they end up on 9 points by the end of October, that's relegation zone.
Yeah. It just doesn't get easier. This is the thing with the championship. Like looking at November, Portsmouth. Yeah, Portsmouth aren't the greatest. But Charlton, Ipswich, Bristol, and Blackburn are really good teams as well. Yeah, this is
Look,
no joke. This
the
is no joke.
no
This
joke.
league, and yeah,
The bottom line is that we said it many times. Wrexham is so predictable to the step, to the minute, to the move, predictable as it can be.
yeah,
Uh, if the formations, I'm not talking about systems right now. If just the basic formational setup is going to be changed without the change of systems, tactics, and the design, it's going to turn even into a bigger disaster.
yeah,
So it's a catch-22. Um, bro, it's looking ugly.
yeah, yeah. It's literally holding on to your hats right now because yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna get pretty hairy. It's gonna get pretty hairy, and it's not gonna be nice for the fans. But you know what? It's something that maybe we just have to go through to see a better Wrexham of the future.
Do you think the teams are going to underestimate Wrexham at some stage? Do they think that they, looking at where Wrexham is in the table right now, do you think there will be a little bit of like taking it easy or nah?
I don't think so because why? Because Wrexham is a team full of expensive players. Like they've got a good squad. This is the thing. What I said in the last feed. Like Wrexham have an expensive and good squad full of talented players. So they are not to be taken lightly. Their issue is that they're
Solid
just not playing
mid-table
right.
squad. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're literally the Manchester United of the Championship right now. Not really. I mean, I know that's obviously an excessive
Yeah.
comparison, but
No,
you hear what I'm saying. It's expensive players who are just not clicking, and there's reasons for a team not clicking.
that is
Yeah,
true. That is true.
is
And
it's either go on, sir.
no. If you carry on, I'm just thinking about the number of players that we have and how obviously other teams have been building their squad in the championship for years, but they also have championship level coaching as well. So
That's right.
yeah.
Well, let's look at their fellow counterpart Swansea, who beat Notts Forest in the League Cup today.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Yeah.
and they can score goals. They can score goals as well. So, oh boy, yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. It's going to be pretty tough.
So going back to that question when I said about Jones, what do you think the chances are of the management of the club already looking at possible replacement? What do you think about that?
I think it's a strong possibility,
You reckon?
and we say it because I think me and you are both on the same part to say that we're kind of in hope that we are going to see a change in management before Christmas.
Before the season,
It's
I
the
said
only
whatever it
way. This is the
takes.
only thing that we can really hope for Wrexham's survival in the Championship, because the worst thing right now is they're sitting in the relegation zone by Christmas.
Yeah, 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 and
It's going to be
simply
a
adding.
really difficult hole to climb out of when they're down there.
Yeah, well,
Right now,
that's true.
you could say, 5 games in, what are you talking about? Still finding their feet, blah, 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 gel, gel, gel. No. No,
Well,
I think we've got to be realistic here. We've got to
yeah,
start
yeah,
being realistic.
and just like I said, even with you know magically everybody is healthy and all the strongest players are on the pitch, by simply adding better players, pace, stamina, shooting, all the other attributes, without a structural plan and
That's right.
multi and a number of different options for the systems to keep your opponents surprised. It's not FIFA. You're the playing FIFA Ultimate Team doesn't create tactical superiority. It doesn't fix operational and tactical flaws. So yeah, no, it's quite dire. And before the season, I said that it would be great if Parkinson can stay in for the whole season, just so we don't risk that, because that sort of coaching carousel is quite dangerous. And if somebody steps in, be it Jones or anybody else, after 5, 7, 8, 10 games, I do not envy that person, because Parkinson had selected and created a particular type of squad, and it's not quite easy to fix that plane when it's already flying. So yeah.
No, I hear you, brother. And yeah, look, we can only wish them the best. But as you said, like, their ship is well out in the middle of the ocean now.
Mm.
So what's going to happen? Is it going to be able to get to the next port before it sinks? Who knows? But it's
Oh
still
my
a long
goodness,
way
yeah.
to go.
The
Like
pressure
we're
is on.
still at the start of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, the pressure is on.
Pressure is on.
Because every lost point now, every loss per se, uh, becomes a well, it's not like a next game is a must-win game, by no means, but the problem and the skies become darker and darker with every loss.
Yep. It's going to be
Because
so
in this,
imperative to get a couple more wins, even just to keep their heads above water for now. But where are those wins going to come from is the question. Because, when we were looking at League One, you could, I think at this point into the season, you could already tell the games that were going to be the easier ones to win. But for the Championship, it's just not like that. Those teams just don't exist.
they
And if
just
they did exist,
recently
they would be
played.
beating the likes of Sheffield Wednesday
I
5-0.
was about to say they just recently played Sheffield Wednesday, and we all know how that went.
And then you look at those other teams down in the bottom of the relegation: Oxford, Sheffield, and Sheffield. Yeah.
Oh, well, the Sheffield United now with a new coach, I'm pretty sure they're going to recover, and
I think so.
They're gonna do well.
They need to, because they're doing pretty rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we covered all the points, my friend.
I think so. Okay. Well, great chat as always, and thanks for having me on the show. And really good to to obviously I'm learning a lot at the same time. I'm hoping everyone else is about all the the technical knowledge in that. So thank you again for breaking that down. And I think if we just keep going with that kind of strong analysis on breaking down games to and from, then I think that it's just it's the way forward for watching, really, and really educate people that love to just throw buzzwords out there. So yeah.
No, thank you so much for joining in and for your comments. Your input is always valuable, and I think we should definitely carry this on. And I think maybe one show a week like that, when we do post and pre, I think it could be something that we can roll on forward with.
Yeah. And if your if your viewers like it, let us know. Let us know what you want to see more or less of, and is it? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and guys, to those who is going to watch that, just for an experiment, because I see a lot of dislikes. Obviously, that's quite standard. But if you like this, because I know I only have 35 subscribers, but the views are usually double that or triple, quadruple that. If you watch the video, give it a like or give it a dislike. It's okay. I just want to see how many people actually react, just out of experiment. That would be good. That would be good.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right.
And to everyone
Thanks, my
else,
friend.
thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time.
Yes, bruv. Have a good night. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
Peace out.
Bye.